Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Melina's gonna make this a longer video, darling. She's gonna model her way to the top. Now, guys, with Robin Williams, you know how Robin Williams committed suicide, and we're all like, oh my god, we're all shocked. We're all like, what's going on? How come Robin Williams committed suicide? He was the happiest man. He was so funny. Everybody loved him. He actually had a disease that would make him be very mentally kind of crazy. Not crazy, obviously. That's not a very politically correct term, but it was kind of like a psychosis kind of thing. It was like very like almost like to the point where you're like you. He would be doing things that are very irrational and very eccentric and very crazy. No, I can't say crazy. I'm not. I'm sorry, guys. Obviously not crazy, politically correct. So he'd be doing things that are very much like just psychotic, right? Like psychotic. He'd be very psychotic, and and it's a permanent thing. Like he's getting older, and he'd be like that forever, and he'd be doing things like really crazy, not crazy, psychotic. Like the word crazy doesn't make me feel bad, but I want to make sure you guys don't think I'm talking negatively. I don't think crazy is a bad word, but in this case, it shouldn't be used. So psychotic. He'd be very psychotic and just be very out of control, and he didn't want to go through that, and that makes sense. I mean, he was going to be basically like, I'm not sure how they described it. It was almost like he was going to be like completely out of control of what he was going to do, and he was going to be very like psychotic and all this, and it was like very it made sense. I mean, not that you should commit suicide over that, but you're Robin Williams. You're not going to want to be running around all over the place being psychotic when you're Robin Williams as an older man. You're not going to want to worry about that. You're going to want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I mean, not that it's devastating. Anybody who's dealing with that illness, whatever the illness is, it's devastating. No one wants to deal with that. And of course, regular people that deal with that just deal with it and let it happen. But really, who wants to hear they're going to be psychotic for them? And it's not a mental illness. It's more like a disease. So it's like really kind of like, oh my God, you're just like, oh my God, like how can Robin Williams deal with that? And the way he dealt with it was by committing suicide. And I really don't think suicide is for anybody, but in that case, like really, what are you gonna do? Like you're Robin Williams, he's gonna run around all over the place and just be really out of control and just like bizarre and all this. Like, why would you want to deal with that, right? Like, who'd want to deal with that? Especially when you're a famous actor, you want to grow older or age in a way that you're still looking good and you can still perform. So Robin Williams, instead of saying, "Okay, I'm going to just let it happen," he decided to commit suicide. So everyone that's like thinking, "Why is Robin Williams committing suicide?" I thought that. I'm like, he had so much going for him. His wife was beautiful. He had, I'm not, I don't think she was extremely beautiful, but she's pretty. And then she was like pretty, and he had like, um, he had like all this money, and he had like a good life, and he was a very funny comedian, and he can do serious roles very, very well, and he was exceptional in his craft. And I'm like, why on earth would a person like that ever dare to commit suicide? And that was the reason. It was because his illness would have made him completely out of control and incapacitated. And that's no, why would he want to deal with that? And it's like Alzheimer's or dementia, but it's kind of like a psychotic one, so it's really hard to deal with. All right, bye now.